Hey guys, Squid Squisher here, and today we're taking a look at the Kikka. I used to really not like this thing, but I think I like it a lot more now that I know what its strengths are. So its flight performance. For 7.0 it has rather weak engines, but the airframe is incredibly light. Nearly half the weight of the ME262, giving it a great climb, acceleration, and top speed. Basically, the only things at 7.0 that have a better max climb rate at sea level are the F89 and the BI. Though since it is a jet, it will lose power faster than a prop would at higher altitudes. It's also quite fast on the deck for a 7.0. Once again, only things that go faster are the F89, the F84B, the BI, and the Attacker. It also rates surprisingly well for a jet, but its turn circle is very wide. It kind of flies like it's on rails. Its turn circle is actually quite similar to that of the F84B. The combat and takeoff flaps will help tighten your turn without losing much rate, so use them when you can. Its firepower is punchy, but you have very little ammo. The guns will have mediocre ballistics, and the fire rate is very bad, making it very easy for enemies to just fly through your rounds if you take high-speed deflection shots. It doesn't help that the guns tend to be rather inconsistent these days. I found that the ground targets belts seem to do the most damage since they are mostly APHE and only have one HE shell. So, based on these factors, this plane's playstyle is that of a vertical energy fighter. Climb at the start of the match, try and bait enemies upward, and take fights into the vertical with rope-a-dopes and energy traps. As long as you keep your speed above 500, you can pretty easily outclimb and outstall your enemies, granted they can't hit you while you bait them up. Trying to take the vertical fight in close quarters, in like a scissors fight, can be pretty risky since your turn circle is very bad, so I'd only try this if you're fighting other kind of bricky jets like the 262, the Su-9, or the F-84. What's nice about this jet is that people tend to get quite surprised by a jet forcing vertical energy fights since they're more used to props being better climbers and low-speed energy fighters, and so they're more likely to take the bait upwards than if they saw something like a P-51H climbing up for an energy trap. Its playstyle sort of complements its guns since you can get enemies while they're stalled out and slow, making it easier for you to hit them and you get to use less ammo. Your worst nightmare, however, is trying to kill someone in a tail chase. I'd avoid shooting at all unless you know you have a good chance of hitting, and when you're chasing someone who's rolling around, going fast, and making it generally difficult for you to hit them, it's not really worth trying to go after them. This plane is also fairly decent at boom and zooming thanks to its high speed and acceleration. You do want to be careful because your turn is not that great and it can be kind of awkward to try and position for a good angle to dive in at, but your plane doesn't compress too much and you can still make it work. You just want to go for enemies that are distracted and slow so that it's easier for you to hit them. Now, everything that I just said comes with a big caveat. As soon as you get up tier, any advantage you have is instantly negated. F2Hs, Su-11s, LA-200s, F-80Cs, ME-262Cs, F-9F Panthers. God help you if you run into a MiG-15 or a BIS-ish. Every single one of those planes will turn, climb, speed, and hold energy better than you. Some of them you might be able to win a horizontal rate fight with, but because most of them turn much tighter than you, you're basically going to die as soon as you get into a 1v1 with any of them. You can't even try to force an overshoot, since most planes at this BR will have air brakes, making it very easy for them to notice that you're dropping throttle and then just sit behind you. However, the one saving grace for your chances in an up tier is that usually fights don't devolve into 1v1s unless you're specifically fishing for them, so you can mostly get away with just sticking to the furballs and using your good but no longer exceptional speed to do boom and zoom attacks while conserving your energy and playing with your teams. This does kind of limit your total kill potential since you'll be spending a significant time also baiting for your teammates, but hey, at least you're contributing and not dying. If you do end up in a 1v1 against a superior plane though, there's not much you can do but hope they're dumb and run to your teammates. Also, interestingly, the matchmaker seems to exclusively put you in either full down tiers or full up tiers, which is kind of nice since at the start of the match you can instantly tell what kind of playstyle you should be adopting instead of having to figure out what you need to do to approach each engagement specifically. Overall, a pretty fun experience considering I'm not that big a fan of pure energy fighters. Still rather limited by its firepower and poor turn, but I think of the 7.0s that you can play, it's one of the more fun ones. So I'm going to give this a B tier for now. Please don't murder my family. You can see in this match that I was trying to establish an energy advantage at the start of the match, but this C2B decided to jump scare me from directly below, so I was kind of forced to just dive straight towards my teammates again. I wouldn't say that you shouldn't climb at the start of up tier matches, but if you do, then you're more likely to face enemies that are going to try and kill you. So usually it's better to gain a little bit of altitude while hanging towards the back of your team, so that when the furballs do start, you have a good idea of who the best enemy target is to go for. And because I've sort of been forced into this engagement, I've already lost situational awareness, and so an ME262 that I could have easily beat in a 1v1 or run away from if I had the energy is able to get on my 6 and use his better turn to kill me. One thing that I forgot to note in the intro is that because this plane is so dependent on its engine power to survive, you want to try and avoid taking damage as much as possible. If either one of your engines take any degree of damage, it's probably a good idea to RTB. So ideally, if possible, you do avoid risky situations like head-ons, but it can also be an even bigger risk if you don't counterfire in the head-on and let the enemy shoot at you uninterrupted. So when I do push head-ons in this playthrough, I usually only fire a few rounds to discourage them to fully commit. And if you're comfortable doing side-slip head-ons, I would advise you try and use them as much as possible so that it's easier for you to evade. This thing doesn't have the worst roll, but it's not the snappiest either, and you want to minimize the chance that you get hit at all. Alright, let's get into some dogfights. Here, this is the start of the match, and I've caught a P51 that's been climbing. He probably didn't expect me to be able to climb up to him this quickly, so he realizes a bit too late and takes some shots. You can probably tell by the fact that I only got hits that I'm still running air target belts right now. I haven't figured to switch to ground targets just yet. I'm definitely not going to be able to pull in for this shot, so I'm going to just use my energy to loop on over. And because I'm going above 500 kph, I'm going to climb much better than he is. Like, I'm already gaining distance from him right now, so if he attempts to stall for me, he's going to be very dead. Actually, based off the fact that he's going so slow right now, I'm going to just loop over right now, and I'm pretty sure that he's going to stall out before I get to him. Flaps will help you with your turn a little bit, so use them when you can. I was expecting him to dive down at this point, but he's still following me up. Maybe if he's lucky, he might get one of these 50 cal shots off, but realistically, there's no way he's winning this fight. Just a quick pitch back down, and I should have him here. Probably should have dived away a lot earlier. It looks like a friendly is here to try and take the kill. I think I've earned this one though, so I'm gonna just finish him off myself. Probably not the best use of my ammo, but I thought I might as well. Now here's a dogfight against a P51 that's a bit more on even footing. I'm pretending to be AFK climbing right now, and he's gotten close enough to the point where I think I should be worried about him, so I'm gonna turn in and try and stall him up. This thing's turn circle isn't great, but it rates pretty well. Not better than a P51H, but because I have an altitude advantage at the moment, there is a chance that he might bleed his speed and pitch up to try and get a shot on me, which is going to make it very easy for me to position myself onto his 6. Dogfights in this thing tend to take quite a long time to set up, and because it's a rate/energy fighter, it is sort of just a lot of waiting for the enemy to lose their speed or take a risk that was miscalculated. And sometimes it's just about wearing the enemy's patience down. More often than not, I end up wearing my own patience down trying to play these kinds of planes, but this plane at least has the speed to let you take some risks and then get away if you make a mistake. Like here, I should have kept rating for a little bit more to wait for him to lose more energy. So I turned in a little too early and I'm not able to pull off the keyboard shot. No worries though, I'm still going quite fast and I should be able to just pitch on over here. And he is in good baiting distance right now. If they're around 1.2 kilometers away, then they'll feel like, oh, if I just get a little bit closer, then I might be able to get a shot. So they're more likely to follow you up. But it looks like he hasn't fully committed to a stall fight. He's just going to go around. Hopefully I'm going to be able to position onto him when I come down on this loop. He might also be positioning for a head-on here. It looks like he's not going to be able to get his nose on, so I'm going to just fire off a few shots. More hits. At this point I am using ground target belts, but they're still kind of inconsistent, so it can be kind of frustrating when your shots don't do the damage that they should be doing. Just to be safe, I'm going to go up again. It doesn't look like he's diving away just yet, but now I can tell that he's departing. And I am pretty free up here at high altitude, so I do have the luxury of chasing him down. Nobody else really around here. A2D doesn't seem to be very bothered, and I'm not very bothered with him either. I just want to secure this kill here before the P51 manages to RTB. And these are my least favorite shots to try and hit in the Kikka. You're low ammo, they're thin silhouette, and them generally trying to rat around makes it pretty difficult for you to get your guns on target sometimes. Luckily, I'm able to finish him off before he RTBs. When you do happen to find yourself alone in a 1v3 against enemy props, then you'll still pretty comfortably be able to outclimb and outspeed them, so the issue mainly just becomes trying to isolate them and deal with them 1v1. The process is slow, but you can just sort of sit above them for the most part and wait for a good opportunity to present itself, making occasional prodding attacks to keep them on their toes. I'm not too worried about the F-84 since he's going to have a pretty terrible climb as well, so I'm pretty comfortably able to just sort of sit above these guys and take one out. Now for some jet fights. One of the few enemies that you do still rate better than are sabers. They can go very fast and they do also pull very well, but their energy retention is very poor, so because I've managed to catch this enemy off guard while he was finishing off a dogfight, he's going very slow, and in order for him to regain his energy, he's going to have to spend quite a while re-accelerating. I'm not going to give him the chance to do that by climbing up and above him, and while he's slow, I'm going to drop back down on top of him and get the kill. He does have a good rolls though, so he might be kind of annoying to take out, but hopefully I've slowed him down enough that I can actually finish him off. Not a particularly impressive fight this one, but it does show that against some of the enemies in a full up tier you do have a chance, especially if you catch them with low energy. For this fight I got a little bit too late to the furball, and so I'm trying to dive in on some of the enemies that I've just finished my teammates off. Hopefully I can get in a few shots before they get some speed back. Unfortunately only hits. And I definitely don't have the turn to stay in this fight, so I'm going to accelerate away. F80A is diving in for me, but he shouldn't have the speed to be able to catch me here. There's an F84 that could catch me, but he is already going pretty slow, so I don't think he's going to be able to catch me in a reasonable amount of time, so I'm hoping that he peels off, so that I can maybe fight the Su-9 and the F80 together at once. The F80 pulls off, so I might be able to deal with these two together at once, but I want to make sure that I'm a secure distance away from the rest of the enemies so that I won't get interrupted if I do get into a dogfight. F84 is peeled off, now would be a good time to turn back in for the Su-9. He doesn't seem to be going after anybody in particular. I don't think I damaged him enough to lose control, but he doesn't seem to be responding normally. But he is looking to take the head on, so I'm going to just avoid this one. He started spraying very early, so I don't really get the chance to counterfire in a reasonable way. It looks like he's pretty low on energy. He's gonna dip down, so I'm just going to loop on over him and see if I can get him. If things go well, then he shouldn't be too big of an issue to take out. I'm also trying to keep an eye out on the main furball to make sure that nobody is chasing after me while I'm trying to kill this guy. Yeah, he's going really slow. I should be able to get a shot here. Unfortunately, just more hits. Down to a third of my ammo. Maybe this Sea Venom will come around and kill him for me. I've made enough passes on this guy, so I'm pretty comfortable just letting him get the kill. But he ends up crashing anyways, so that's for the best, I suppose. Looks like that other furball's concluded just in time, so I'm going to have to deal with these two. F84 is closer, so I'm going to go head on with him first. Luckily, despite the up tier, these enemies aren't the ones that I'm too worried about, so I should be able to dogfight them pretty comfortably. F84 seems to have taken a few hits from the Sea Venom, so it's just the F80. I was gonna pull in for the head-on, but I'm not quite able to pull my nose in just in time, so I decided against it. And I'm coming in with quite a lot of speed, so it's just gonna be going back up again, and setting up for an energy trap. This F80 seems to be getting pretty close, but I don't think he'll be able to get the shot in, so I just go over his nose. And it doesn't look like he's following me up, but he's also not diving down, so there's a good chance this guy's going to take the fight. Yep, he's trying to come back up. I'm just going to take this into a horizontal rate fight, staying above him. He does have a better turn circle than me, but because I'm above him and I also rate better than him, he's going to have to pitch up and lose a lot of speed if he wants to catch me. So slowly but surely, I should be able to descend a little bit while getting onto his 6. It's going to take a while though, so I'm glad that there's nobody here to interrupt us. He's also continuing to shallow dive each time I dive down, so he's regaining energy and speed to help his turn, which is extending the time it'll take for me to win the raid fight, and eventually we're just going to have to raid fight onto the deck, which is not that great, so I'm going to try and speed up the process by just looping on over him and seeing if I can get the kill this way. Ooh, this might be a good opportunity. He looks like he's stalling out. Or at the very least, he's going very slow. Skill issue. I'm sure my impeccable aim isn't the reason why you watch my videos, because if that was the case then you probably would have left a while ago. I still got 12 rounds of ammo though. I should be able to finish him off, maybe? Unfortunately, it looks like he's going for the running strategy now. And this is one of the main issues I have with energy fighters. I really don't have the patience to do all of that work and then just watch somebody leave. Sure, I won the positioning fight, and I forced him down into a lower energy state, but if their plane is just as effective low altitude than high, then it kind of feels like letting a fish go once you've caught it already in a net. The reward for the amount of time that you spend in that fight is really not worth it, and perhaps I should be more intrinsically happy with the fact that I won the positioning fight, but as someone who spent the majority of their time playing this game stock grinding on a free-to-play account, it is genuinely a waste of time trying to spend a long period of time if it does not secure you a kill. It's honestly better if you just take a risk or die in a head-on, because at the very least then you can jump into the next match and grind out your modifications faster so you don't have to play a vehicle that's pre-nerfed by Gaijin's modification system. Sure, I'm not playing a stock plane right now, but unfortunately that's the mentality that I've had to play War Thunder with for most of the time, so it's kinda hard to get out of that routine. As you can see here, I'm trying to dogfight this G56. He keeps diving away, I keep climbing back up and resetting, he keeps dodging and dodging, and I haven't been able to really accomplish anything this match, and my entire team is dead. So I'm stuck fighting 8 enemies with no real chance of actually winning this game. I also happen to be completely out of ammo. So it's all well and good that you can gain energy and an advantage, but unless you have a means to execute on that advantage, its utility is pretty limited. Could I have gone for somebody else at the start of the match? Maybe, but who's to say that guy wouldn't have done exactly the same thing? So if you really want to get some work done, then you have to play with your team and help them engage enemies in the furball. But at that point, you might as well play something that turns better and has more ammo so that you can actually get more work done in that situation. Anyways, the P51H that I severe, he's able to repair because he's on the runway. Things aren't looking good. I have 0 kills. There are a bunch of enemies around me, but I will say that I like this plane a lot more just because of the fact that it has both speed and climb, meaning that you can dive to negate the enemy's energy advantage and then regain it much faster than them. It's not really going to help me in this situation because I'm out of ammo, but I am able to outrun these guys, RTB, and then rearm. Now that I've taken off, they're waiting right outside of my airfield, and I don't really want to airfield camp, so I'm just going to run away. My top speed is higher, but I am currently going not that fast, and if they dive, they have a very good chance of catching me. So, counterintuitively, what I'm going to do is I'm going to climb a little bit at my ideal climb speed, between 500 and 600 kph, and then when they start getting closer, I'm going to dive so that I can accelerate much faster than them. As long as you're going above 500 kph, you will definitely be able to out-accelerate them. And unless they had a jet that was higher than me, then they definitely won't be able to catch me in this situation. And once I can see that they're pulling off, then I'm going to restart my climb. I don't want to be dogfighting anybody on the deck, because if somebody decides to dive onto me, then there is a good chance that they still will be able to catch me. And because my climb is better than all of them, I should be able to gain an altitude advantage over them and start the dogfight on my terms. It looks like this P51H is relatively isolated. I know there are other enemies around, but I should be safe to take a head-on here at least. And because I kept my speed above 500 kph, I should comfortably be able to outrun all of these guys even if they are side on to me. Well, now there are 4 of them, and it looks like that F80 has joined the fight. He is going to be the one that I'm most concerned with since he can catch me if I do find myself low on energy. I am still faster than him and I do still outclimb him, so if I play carefully I shouldn't have any issues, but still something to note. Now I'm running out of time, the timer has gone low, and I don't want to have spent this entire time just running, so at this point I'm just going to say screw it. I'm going to at least try and take a few more head-ons and then maybe take 1 or 2 out. P51H is closer, so I'm going to go on for him. Here goes nothing. Nice, a fire. Now I just have to get out of the situation without getting hit. F8F incoming as well. I'm glad I got out of that alive. Now that it's a 2v1, the situation is much more manageable. Once it's a 3v1 or above, then it's a lot harder for you to keep track of all the enemies and make sure that they don't find a good position on you, but 2 is relatively manageable, especially since this thing has the energy to just come up and down over them. So here's the loop on over the F8, using flaps to tighten my turn, and hopefully I'm able to catch him. Or if not him, I might be able to catch somebody else, considering the F80 is still meandering around this area. The contrails are also making it very easy for me to find where they are. I don't have to be guessing and trying to look for dots. I can see that the F80 is trying to turn back in for me, but there's only like 3 minutes left on the clock, so I can't really afford to waste any more time. This is actually a really good shot if I can hit them. Nice, that's F8 down. F80 is on my tail though, I need to accelerate away. I should definitely have the energy and speed to get away, but if he 50 cals one of my engines, then I'm screwed, so I'm going to still dodge. It looks like he's diving down a little bit to gain more speed so that maybe he can pitch up for me, but he gives up on that pretty quickly, and now I'm able to attack again. The 84 that's been baiting me in chat this whole time is here to attack me as well, so I'm going to try and bait him up and then stall him out. First attack is unsuccessful. I'm going to loop back over and see if I can get him again. These guns sometimes... I committed a little too hard to that 84, so I'm low on altitude. That F80's got a shot on me, but luckily he missed all of his shots and I'm able to regain altitude. And if this match went on longer, then I might have prioritized one of the more important enemies like that P51H next to me, but there's only 30 seconds left in the match and I wanted to make sure that 84 was dead, and I couldn't tell his engine was dead until I got close. He wasn't severed either, so there was a good chance that he would have survived till the end of the match. Do I feel kind of bad for wasting 8 people's time? Yeah, under most situations I probably would have just taken a head-on and left the match. But you guys seem to insist that I should always play these kinds of planes slowly, and so this is the consequence, I guess. Kinda fun, but I could have had a lot more fun if I had just left and gotten into a new match. Plus, I'd feel a lot less bad about wasting all these people's time. Next round, it's another down tier. I'm fighting a B-29 up at high altitude, because why not? If you do manage to land a shot, it usually does one-shot them, but in that first burst, he did manage to fly through my rounds. If I had aimed at the fuselage, it probably would have gotten him, but unfortunately, it missed. And one single stray 50 cal manages to hit my engine. That's going to negate my entire performance throughout this match. If I hadn't gotten hit, then I probably would have gone and tried to look for the rest of the fighters, but because I'm hit and I know that I have to RTB if I want to regain my performance, I'm just gonna run down this B-29 and get him while I'm up here. And I've gotta say, it's really satisfying when these shots hit a bomber. Is it an optimal strategy for you winning the game? No, not really, but with an explosion like that, I really can't resist. So I've rearmed and repaired, and I'm back up. Our team hasn't lost outright, but I can't say we were winning either. This Key 84 is kind of hanging on by himself, so I'm going to prioritize this P51H that's going after him. I'm coming into this fight with all the energy in the world, so I'm at basically no risk here. My priority is just to save this Key 84 as quickly as possible. lining up for a bit of an awkward head-on. Looks like I'm not quite able to aim right. The fastest way to get back on him is going to be looping over top, so I'm going to do that. It doesn't look like the P-51 is coming in back for the fight. He is just kind of extending, so there's a good chance the Ki-84 is also going to be able to come in for the kill. I'm also doing a quick surround check while I'm at the top of the loop. P-51H is extending, so we should be safe from him at the moment. Ki-84 can probably deal with him, but it looks like the other P-51H is coming straight for us, so I'm going to have to take this head-on. Again, I don't really want to spray too much in these head-ons, but the goal is mainly just to make sure that he doesn't fully commit to it. Gonna loop on back over and see if I can get him. He's not going after me though, he's going after the P-51H. They're taking a head-on, and I'm worried that other P-51H is trying to climb up for me, so I'm going to delay my turn a little bit. I think that was a mistake though. The Ki-84 does win the head-on, but now the P-51H is on his 6. If I had looped on over faster, then I might have been able to help here, but unfortunately I'm too late to help him out. Hopefully I can get this P-51H while he's low though. I spray a little too much in that burst, but I wanted to minimize the risk of him flying through my rounds or them not doing damage or any other supposed problem because we're all alone at the moment, and I wanted to get him while he was really low on energy. So I checked the leaderboards. There's one bomber way at high altitude, you saw the contrail from earlier, and there's this Yak-15. I wasn't entirely sure where he was, but I was guessing that because he had a lot of kills, he had probably RTB'd. And so I was flying towards his airfield, and what do you know, here he is. Looks like he's not committing to the head-on at all, he's just gonna dodge, and well, I guess it works against a Kikka since he's very maneuverable and I'm not. For the most part, I'm gonna dogfight this guy the same way I've dogfight all the other props. I'm gonna take this up and vertical and try and stall him out so that I can get him while he's slow on the way down. The Yak-15 does have a pretty good rate and an energy retention though, so on top of his good turn, I do need to be careful of that. I still outclimb him, so this should still be the same sort of fight. And I'm gonna speed this up because there's a lot of time between each of the shots being fired. That's kind of just how this plane flies. Going back down. Let's see if I can get a shot on him. No sauce, I'm just gonna pitch back up. I am pretty low on ammo, so I'm trying to wait for the perfect chance to get a shot on him, but it kind of also looks like he's trying to run back to his airfield, which is not great. This could be a good chance though. Rather unfortunate. I'm gonna do one more pass on him, but after this, I'm not going to be able to get any more shots on him because he's too close to his airfield and I don't want to get shot down. I RTB, and while I'm doing so, my friendly HG-162 tries to get him while he's landed on the airfield, but gets shot down by the AA. So it's just me versus the Yak-15 and a B-29 that's in space. We're losing on tickets, so I kill a few of these attackers. If I had more time, I'd go after that B-29, but I'm hoping that by being spotted by these attackers, the Yak will at least try to engage me this time. And I'll have enough ammo to try and deal with him if he does go after me. I do find him, I go for the head-on, and this time he's playing extra passive. He's just straight running away, so since there's only 30 seconds left on the clock, I just fly straight and turn my wing smoke on. He does the same, and I guess he's content with losing the game on tickets. But instead, actually, he decides to be a cheeky little bastard and go for the head-on again. Well, there's only 5 seconds left in the match, but sure, I'll take it. And I get the severe a split second before the game ends, so he gets written off. Man, what a waste of time. I guess I got him in the end at least. This victory brings no joy to my heart. This match is an Uptier. I'm climbing off to the side. I do want to gain energy, but I also don't want to climb too high such that I become a primary target for any of the dogfighters on their team. But it also doesn't look like anybody is going after me in particular, so I'm going to see if I can jump this F-84. I doubt he's completely AFK, but he's probably also still going to be focused on the enemy bombers, so hopefully I can jump him while he's distracted. Actually it looks like he's turned and flying away. So he probably knows that I'm here. I won't be able to catch him while he's distracted, but I'll still go after him since he seems like the ideal target. Most of the enemies on their team don't seem to be too dangerous targets. I'm just worried about that F2H that's climbed off way to the side, but he's far enough away that I won't have to worry about him until much later. The F-84 has dived towards his friendlies, so now might be a good time to switch targets to something that might be a more favorable target. Maybe this 262? This other 262 flies really close to me. I did not expect him to get that close. But luckily he is not going after me, so I can try and focus this other 262. It's a U4, so I have very little to be worried about. And he was also going way too slow to be able to fly defensively. So lucky me, I pick up a free kill. Next convenient target seems to be this F-84. I'm going to see if I can try and get him. He is flying very low though, so I do want to be careful not to crash into any of these buildings. Might be a little risky here trying to get this shot. And I just barely dodged some of the poles on the top of the buildings. I was half expecting some of those hitboxes to just blow me up instantly, but looks like I live to see another day. 262 also behind me, but this Saber is probably going to be a bigger issue. He seems to be going quite fast, which is where he holds the advantage, but it's not like I'm going to get into a 1v1 with him anyways. I'm just going to extend away and see if I can find a different target that's more optimal to attack. As long as he doesn't stick on my 6, I should be fine. I'm tailing this 262 in front of me, but our friendlies are also pretty close to him, so he's probably dead before I get to him. F80 heading towards me. This might also be a better target. If I had more ammo, I would have sprayed there a little bit, but I do want to conserve it for now, in case I get into a situation where I really need it. On F80A, that's something that I would be willing to take a dogfight with. He's extending away for now, but I should be able to catch him. I am hearing engine sounds around me, and I get worried a little bit that there might be another enemy around, but I think it was just an AI. I'm gonna pretend that I scared him into the ground. I do not know why he did that. There were a few more furballs, but my teammates took care of the rest of the visible enemies, so I'm headed towards their short airfield to see if there's anybody around. Looks like I caught the last 2 fighters on their team. The most concerning target is the F-89D. I'm pretty sure it has a worse flight model than the F-89B, but it still probably has a much better climb than me, which is something that I should be worried about. I've never really played it, so I don't know how hard it is to lead those rockets, but I am going to pull off. These two have just both taken off, so they should both be low on energy. And I do outclimb the F-84, so I'm not that concerned about him, but the F-89 could potentially establish an energy advantage over me if things get bad. So I do want to prioritize him over the F-84. F-84 might be trying to stall up for me, but I don't think he's going to get a shot. F-89 is disengaging completely. I don't really know how much ammo that thing has, but I'm guessing he's actually trying to RTB to rearm, maybe? Or he's just straight running away, which means that I can safely 1v1 this guy. And because I know I outrate him and that I already start with a massive energy advantage, I'm just going to keep on continuing this horizontal turn, and he's going to not be able to counter that. He's out of energy and I have all the position now, so I'm just going to drop down and see if I can kill him. Okay, that one I am definitely counting. F-89 is taking a head-on with me again. Looks like he wasn't out of ammo. Pitch back up on over him so that he can't hit me. I want to make this quick since I'm running out of fuel. It is kind of an interesting phenomenon that because you play this plane so poorly, even though it has so little ammo, I tend to run out of fuel more quickly than I run out of ammo, even though I take 10 minutes. Maybe in the future I'll take more, but because this plane is so light, it is very heavily impacted by how much fuel you take. F-89 is running back to his base. I want to intercept him before he's able to make it back. He does also have a higher top speed than me, so if he accelerates for too long, then he is going to get a chance to escape. So I need to get him here as quickly as possible. I hit his wingtip fuel tank, I think? I'm gonna need something better than that. Oh yeah, that's much better. And just a few more for luck. Surely that'll put him into the ground. But now I really have to RTB. I'm out of ammo and fuel. I'm not actually sure if I'll make it back. Okay, so I make it 2/3 of the way back when I run out of fuel. I'm gonna have to try and glide my way back, but I definitely don't have the altitude to be able to make it all the way back to my airfield. But very conveniently, there's this railroad track here that I can cruise along while I'm idling, just using my momentum to carry my way forward. I'm not sure how close I have to be to the airfield for me to start repairing and rearming, but I'm hoping that by getting closer to the left, I can just barely make it, and... Yippee! I made it! That was a pretty close call though. I think maybe I'll try and take 12 minutes next time. So now it's time to take off again. I don't know if it's feasible for you to keep your boosters, considering you have to rip your gear off if you want to keep them. But I just use them on the runway to quicken my takeoff. Last enemy is a space climbing B-29. And I don't think he expected anybody to try and climb up for him considering how high up he is, but this plane was basically designed to take down B-29s. So I climb up for him for 6 straight minutes, and even though there wasn't really any action happening in those 6 minutes, I will say that it was actually kind of engaging to try and plan my optimal intercept route to make sure that I'd be able to catch him. But that probably wouldn't have made very interesting gameplay footage, so you just get to see him blow up. Overall, a pretty fun match, even though most of it was flying in a straight line. It was flying in a straight line with purpose, and I think that's one thing that's really lacking in ARB these days. Interesting game modes and objectives, those could really go a long way to making this stale game mode feel new and fun again. Anyways, that's all for now. Bye bye.